and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce our best man, Mr. Ben Mark.
Hello everyone. If you don't know me already, my name is Ben. Always has been. But Jamie and the lads like to call me Trish. Mainly because I like to help people out. But the other reason is I used to have a cracking pair of tits. When preparing for this speech, I was told to only make it as long as the groom could make love for. Thank you, everyone. Well, chaps, one thing has been proven today: he's not gay. I must just start by saying, and I hope you'll all agree with me, on just how incredible, breathtaking, and truly irresistible I look in this suit. To my mum and dad, cheers. Now, I think you'll all agree on just how amazing Jen looks today. Steve and Cheryl, you've made a real beautiful daughter and one to be proud of. Darling, Julie, you tried. It's very, very sad for many single men out there. Another beauty has fallen off the singles list in Jen. But I'm sure for any of you single ladies out there, today's gone past power report. Now, I do need to apologise to Jen and Jamie for not assisting in their recent move from Maidenbow to Southgate. After a heavy night on the beer, I may have misunderstood Jamie when he said they'll be banging and screwing all day. I thought it would be safer if I stayed in bed. Now, I was actually out in Portugal 2 years ago when I got a phone call from Jamie telling me he'd somehow managed to force Jen to marry him. And he also asked me if I'd be his best man. So I sat on the balcony watching the sunset exactly 2 years ago, last week, and I started writing the speech. Funny enough, me being me, 2 years later, sat on the same balcony watching the same sunset, finishing it 7 days before this wedding. Over those 2 years, I've made 54 changes. I've completely rewritten 2 stories, deleted the whole lot and started again. I bought a new car and instantly took on a second job, Trish's taxi service. I've given a promotion at work and visited 12 new countries. After covering many miles, I lost the contract with my ex-girlfriend, which led to my very expensive and time-consuming taxi firm to cease trading. You'll be happy to hear that I've met an incredibly beautiful new girlfriend who drives. Thank you. And managed to lose 4 stone of unwanted body fat. And all this just for a speech for you, so I hope you enjoy it. Can I get everyone to raise their glasses? Sit down. To the bar staff, thank you. So love is what brought us here today. A love that started 14 years ago, just outside the bike shed at Hazelwick School. It was the first time Jamie laid his eyes on me. It was such a deep love that today Jamie labelled me as the best man he'd ever met. Now, before I mainly start to unveil to you, Julie, what Jamie is actually like outside of this little bubble he's been brought up in, I have to admit I'm very pleased to see that Jen has decided to dedicate the rest of her life to being Jamie's slave. To take the duties off of Joe, Canty and myself. From this moment forward, we no longer need to worry ourselves about him not having his lunch made for him. Jen, I'll pass you the lunchbox duties. Also, we no longer have to worry about Jamie being on time to anything, including the events he organises. And also, for those long, dark, lonely nights where I'm away with work and none of us can come around to make sure Jamie goes to sleep with a smile on his face. I went over The fact that you can see that Jen is not only a beautiful girl, but she's really down to earth and has been there for most of us when we've needed someone. She's also learned to accept and put up with our awful level of humour, which keeps us entertained on many a night. Jamie, I want you to take this one small piece of advice from me, aka Trish. That even with an incredibly annoying noises she makes when she wants something, the unbelievable amount this girl farts, and the occasional profanities that are viewable to all of you on YouTube, that when you find someone like Jen, you give her everything you possibly can to make sure she wakes up every morning feeling as happy as she can. It's near on impossible and you'll never manage it, but as long as you try, she'll love you forever. I would like to say that I think Jen and Jamie truly do belong together. You could say their love is pure and simple. Jen's pure, Jamie's Whilst doing some research on the net, I came across these 5 bits of wisdom that should help Jamie through this marriage. The best way to remember your anniversary is to forget it once. Always remember these 3 little words. You're right, dear. Never have phone sex, as it could lead to hearing aids. All you couples here today, turn and face each other and stare deeply into each other's eyes. Don't look at me, stare at your couple.
There you go, boy.
Now, statistically, you're staring at the person that was most likely to murder you. The last point is to always get on with your mother-in-law. Now, I didn't speak to my ex's mother-in-law for 18 months. It wasn't because I didn't like her, I just didn't want to interrupt her. A little unknown fact is that an anagram of mother-in-law is woman Hitler. Jamie's had never had much luck on the ex-girlfriend. In fact, his last girlfriend can only be described as melancholy. A body like a melon, and a face like a collie. Jamie has specifically asked me to refrain from mentioning any of his previous ex-girlfriends, which unfortunately does mean the short will be 3 seconds shorter. Where do I start with Jamie? We go back to when me and him spent our days in blazers and tie, and mainly talking about bike parks and acting immature at Hazewick Secondary School. I remember well our GCSEs back in 2003. Julie, being a good mother, made sure with regular phone calls that Mr. Unorganised was at home doing his revision, and me and Mr. Hodge would be off riding our bikes and getting up to mischief. Unfortunately for Jamie, all those hours he spent at home, instead of playing out with his chums, led to him achieving worse grades than me. But it did mean he had a hell of a lot more friends on MySpace. School was where we would pretend to fall over walking down the corridors, walk into doors. It was mainly where we learnt the most important lesson of life. neither me or Jamie would ever be clever enough to become rocket scientists or investment bankers. But whatever we did, we'd stick together and have a good laugh at it. Some of you may know that me and Jamie worked together at Halford. Back in those days where maturity really wasn't our thing, we managed to get up to a lot of stuff, and looking back we probably shouldn't have done. There were stink bombs in the toilets, calling the East Grinstead store for a stock count on the Barking Spider air freshener. We slept in the bike racks, not together. Sorry if that startled you. We had elastic band flights, but I think our favourite of all was the style tannoy system. There's two separate occasions I'd like to share with you. The first being a Friday night shift. Jamie was building a bike for a customer who stood in front of him whilst I was in the office cashing up. I called Jamie and said, "Listen out." I picked up the tannoy, gave it the comedy 5-second pause, and then one swift move, properly let it rip on the office mic. I returned to the shop floor to see this poor chap who was still building his bike and being very professional, but now with streams of tears rolling. But my favourite has to be when we told Dean, the slightly dopey weekend shift leader, his girlfriend was on line 1. So I casually picked up the phone and dialed the store tannoy number and passed it to him. Dean took the phone without 1 second of hesitation, announced to the whole store, "Hello, sugar tits." Now the reason why I've had to make 54 changes to this speech is because Jamie is far too careful about making a fool of himself. And there isn't really that many embarrassing stories that I can tell you. Any one of my mates can tell you the silly little things he does, like crashing his car into a curb, getting attacked with a wooden spoon, dyeing his entire head ginger. So I decided I'd tell you a story from our stag do, just to embarrass him. Being I'm new to the whole best man stag do scenario, I wasn't sure exactly how bad to go on Jamie for 2 reasons. Jamie loves a joke, but doesn't like the joke being played on him. And I didn't want him not to enjoy his stag do. Also, being my luck with ladies, I knew that I'd be the last one to get married. And if I went in heavy on him, Jamie and the rest of them would make mine hell. So the story's a little bit hazy. It was about 1 AM and we were in one of Nuki's more interactive establishments. I believe the library was called Wild Cherry Gentleman Club. I was sat down enjoying a nice beverage, watching the lingerie do cartwheels and various other things. Obviously, I have no real recollection of getting into this facility, but somehow I remember being rushed out in order to find my mate. My mate who had run off somewhere back to the hotel, and all I was told is he was really upset. So I took my duties as Trish to find my mate and sort out his issues. I found him outside a church, talking to three very friendly girls, all looking slightly worried at my mate's misfortune. Jamie, compared to myself, is slightly less confident in being naked in public. Let alone anyone else other than his new wife. Although don't worry Julie, he is still a virgin. So when one of the lads, unknown to myself, decided to relieve Jamie of his clothes, my mate did his very own Usain Bolt impression and decided to leg it to safety. The only issue was one of them had grabbed what turned out to be his beloved shoe. As I say, I wasn't very sober by this point, but when I found it, he was stood looking very distressed and started with an angry, "Where's my shoe?" to a more upset, "Where's my shoe?" He said, "I don't mind being whipped, but I really don't want anyone seeing my gentleman's sausage." Evidently the shoe was taken to get a beer, held next to the back, and eventually returned to him later on that smelling of garlic sauce. But deep down, Jamie was really angry and lost his shoe. For the remainder of the stag do, Jamie was reminded of the quote, "Where's my shoe?"
That's hideous.
Now, I haven't really spoken about genital, although this is quite fitting for the next story. One dark night, me, Jamie, Jen and Brew travelled down to Brighton town in my dad's luxurious white Ford Galaxy, aka the Passion. Proving our immaturity once again, we decided we would wind down the windows and say stupid things about ourselves in public. After a few moments from Brew and myself, we had such statements as, "He loves men. I've had sex with a minor." Jamie decided it was his turn and shouted out something very similar to "I have a collection." Now Jennifer and David partner decided in her head that when she entered the game, she was going to smash the grain out of it. Which, funny enough, is what Jamie said to me when he first met her. As we drove down a very busy Church Street, Brighton, this beautiful girl decided to announce to the world she had baggy flaps. Honestly, we all found this very funny, but it was only the start of it, because immediately after the now Miss Wild opened her precious mouth, announcing that her lady garden was more similar to a loose lettuce, the last traffic lights on Church Street changed from amber to red. For the next 60 seconds, Jen, probably the most embarrassing and slowest of her life, a crowd full of people all stopped and turned around to hear about Jen's wizard sleep. I was talking to Jen's mother early on, and I said, "What is it like to see your daughter get married?" And she said it only seemed like yesterday when Jen was going to bed with her dummy. Funny how some things don't change. Well, you've heard enough from me. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that you two are brilliant together, and I think you have the best of future together.
Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding. Raise your glasses to love, to laughter, and to a happy ever after. To Mr. and Mrs. Wild.
Ladies and gentlemen, massive appreciation for our best.
Here you go.